Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About It, a monthly podcast about online schooling. My name is Mary and I come from Education Worldwide, an international online school. This is a special holiday episode of our podcast, and besides this Christmas and New Year's decorations in the studio, this podcast will be special for many other reasons, mostly because of the people I have with me here in studio and the topic that we're going to discuss. And let me introduce you with my guests. I believe that you already know them because they were guests throughout the previous year, but let's start from Julia. Julia, welcome again.
Thank you.
How are you?
I am great, excited for this podcast.
Great.
Excited to be the part of the decoration today.
Oh, the decoration, yeah, I love the sweater.
Thank you.
I appreciate that you gave your participation to the decorations in the studio, but you will not be only a decorating object in the studio. You will talk about interesting topics as well. Okay, so I was wondering, the winter break started. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about it?
I'm excited about winter break. I like the winter break, just like the students do. It gives us time to kind of reset and see what we did so far, and to gather some strength for the remaining school year. So it's always nice to have some rest.
Great, awesome. My second guest, or our second guest, is Mike. Mike, welcome again.
Thanks, it's good to be back here again.
Okay. Great to have you here again.
Yeah, I forgot my Christmas sweater, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so
that's okay.
I'm not in the holiday mood this day, of course.
Yeah.
But I am looking forward.
But it's winter break, so you have a less work, I suppose.
Oh, definitely.
Because you're one of the busiest teachers. Whenever we come across the teaching area, you're always at your desk having classes and.
Yeah, I mean. It's not always about teaching, but there's always the administration work, which takes up a lot of time. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad it's the winter break. I can now only focus on the administration part. No more classes.
No more classes until the next year.
It
sounds like it's a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time as any to sum up all that we've done this year and plan what's coming next. Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited about what we're going to see in the next year.
Great, I am too, and I can't wait to share this with our audience, with parents, students, and future parents and students. Our third guest for tonight is Miss Sophie. You remember Miss Sophie as a prime tutor. Sophie, welcome back.
Thank you, Mary. It's great to be back. And just like Mike, I forgot my Christmas sweater, unfortunately.
But you have a new hairstyle.
That's true. Maybe my students won't recognize me. I hope they will.
If you don't recognize her, it's Sophie, so don't worry.
That's right. And as I said, I forgot my Christmas sweater. Mm-hmm. I'll do better next time, but Christmas spirit is here. So.
Okay, great. Do you feel relaxed now when the winter break started?
Yes, I feel really great.
Yes.
Just like
I love
students,
the enthusiasm.
I mean, us the tutors also like spending time with our family and friends. So I feel great, honestly.
Yeah. Great. And our fourth guest for tonight is Mr. Luke. Luke, welcome. I think you're the record holder for the number of times.
That's me.
when you were a guest in our podcast. Yeah.
3 pods and now the New Year special.
Yeah.
Happy to be here
everything
still,
starts
Mary.
with you. So when we first started the podcast, you were a guest. So when we came to this new studio, you were the guest and you opened like the podcast. And now, like the special episode, you're a guest again. So I'm really glad to have you here again.
Thank you, Mary. Always a pleasure.
Okay, how this winter break affects you? I mean, you're not an active tutor anymore.
Nope.
You're doing some other things in the school, but yeah.
Well, there's still work to be done. The load might be lesser than what it's usually, but it's winter time, festive time, so doing fine.
Great. Okay, and given that this is holiday special, we're not going to talk that much about the school program and the usual stuff, but we're going to go down the memory lane of some interesting and funny moments that have happened throughout this school year. And given that at the end of the year, we usually sum up everything that has happened to our lives. I can say that Education Worldwide is really proud with the number of students that have enrolled, number of students that have stayed with us throughout this year, that have finished school year. There are many great stuffs that they have achieved outside of the school as well, especially for our young athletes and the students who have different talents and hobbies. And since we are in the mood of speaking about the accomplishments, I would like to start with Julia and ask her, what is some of the accomplishments that you remember that your students have achieved throughout this school year, whether in a group class or individual, something that simply warms your heart when you remember about it?
Well, there's two things that come to mind. First is them getting used to me as their tutor. That was definitely a process. As I said, I think even previously I said, kids do not really like change that much. And when I first arrived, it took some time for us to get to know each other. So that is something that I am really proud of, and I think we did a good job there. And aside from that, Prime 6 started now in September, and some new students were enrolled, and I really like the way that they became a part of the group. I think that also went really well. We organized some activities so that they can spend time together, and so that nobody feels excluded. So, oh, and one other thing is about the trip that is going to happen for the middle school prime
Students.
Yes, so we will see how that
Okay,
turns out.
so 2024 already brings some new things on the horizon.
Yes.
That we are looking forward to. Okay, great, Sophie. Same question for you. I forgot to put comma in my sentence when I told your name. The same question for you. What is something that your students have done that made you feel like proud of them during the school
Well,
year?
I really liked what Julia said. Like they really got used to me. And of course, I got used to them, and I know them really, really well. And this year, last year in our prime grade 3, we had 4 students. This year, 5 more enrolled, so there are 9 students in the lesson. So it was really interesting, very challenging for the students, but they get on really, really well. Now, so I'm really happy that they are so flexible and that they can easily get used to new people and new environments. So I'm proud.
They
of
accept
them.
new students. That's
Yes,
really great.
yes.
Okay, great. Mike, the same question for you. What accomplishment of your student or your students have made you proud this?
Well, if I could single anything out, it would be 4 of my students, actually. They're all siblings in the end. 3 of them are triplets, and they have a younger sister. I remember, like, for the better part of the last year, and for some time in this year, actually, we had been practicing English only, and they started their regular school year with us, and they have all successfully finished. Like, starting from not knowing, how to, communicate in English. Here they are, completing an entire school year on their own. So that's, and they'll be back. I mean, as soon as January to start their next school year. So that's a very good thing. I mean, they plan on, keeping up the tempo and maybe even accelerating their tempo, to catch up on lost time.
That's quite progress they have made. And
It's nothing that I did, honestly. It's all their work. It's how they approach their
well, it's
their
a little
curriculum.
bit of your work as well, probably, because even if you don't have classes with them, you're probably guiding them. So don't be so
I mean,
so humble and shy.
I mean, we do have regular weekly classes, like multiple of them, like 2 classes per child. So it's a lot of work, and they've managed marvelously, honestly. Yeah.
Great. And look, I know that you're not an active teacher anymore, so you don't have your own students, but do you have anything to, single out as an accomplishment on the level of the school, like something that you will remember this school year for?
Oof.
Let me start.
Yeah, I'll have to think about it. Like, not necessarily with the teaching department or anything, but just like the school.
You can focus on some special department, or maybe, I don't know, the number of enrollments on the platform, whatever
Yeah, that
comes to
that
your
was
mind.
huge. That's increasing monthly. We are always better than the previous year. But something I'll remember this school year for would be me moving on to help with the consulting department.
Okay.
That's my mark for
So
this
you're
year. Yeah.
attacking some
Super proud of
new
it too.
frontiers now. Great.
Yeah.
Great. And I believe the consulting department is looking forward to spend the entire next year with you as their team members. So reinforcement, what can I say? Okay, great. Can you guys, I know that our students, they come from different countries, different cultures, they have different hobbies and stuff like that. And as all children, they're curious, and usually they do not have a filter. So they usually ask some really sometimes weird questions maybe. So Julia, can you tell me what's the most weird question that a student randomly asked you during the class? And I know you have some interesting stories or something that they have said to you.
Yeah. Well, I guess they do it intentionally too, so it's not it's not an accident when they ask these questions, and especially they do this when they see a substitute or when you're new with them, which I was earlier this year. So they like to just ask you random things like, do you believe in God? Or something about racism. They're really just trying to put you in the most uncomfortable possible position ever. And then whatever you answer, they're like, oh, there you go, that's what you said. So it's kind of, I'm learning to handle it as time goes on. But they are really good at asking uncomfortable questions. It's kind of their hobby at this point. So I'm proud of them about that too. They are doing better.
Any save, how do you divert from that kind of communication, or how do you shut up that
Yeah, well, I mean, we tackle everything with humor. I mean, teaching kids boundaries is very important, but also my way of teaching is not really being super strict. I think that approaching things through humor and talking to them like they are human beings that they are capable of understanding why something is good or bad, for them works best. It does take longer to explain things and to have these long talks with them, but in the end I think it makes it gives you the best results, and it's what they accept the most so far. So
great. And what about you, Sophie?
Well, that's an interesting question. They ask all kinds of things. Since they're 9 and 10 years old, my students, they normally ask some things such as, what's your favorite color? What's your mom's name? What's your sister's name? What does your cat like to do? What did you like to do when you were younger? So they are really interested in knowing what I used to do and like when I was their age. They want to get, to know me a little bit better. So I think it's very cute. And also they ask me, just like Julia said, do you believe in God? And we have those discussions where each one of them belongs to a different religion. And then they talk about these things as well. And it's a delicate topic, but a very interesting one. So I think it's pretty interesting and also challenging sometimes when they don't agree with one another, and then I have to calm the situation, let's say, a little bit down, but it's very interesting.
And I remember, I don't know if it's the beginning of this year or maybe last year, it doesn't even matter, a student who asked you about the Santa Claus. Like he figured out that Santa Claus is not real, but he wanted to tell you.
Yes, he was in shock. He asked
as a
me
confidential information.
Yes.
He didn't want to break it for all the other students, but he was like, Sophie, Santa Claus is not.
Didn't you know that he doesn't exist? And I pretended that I didn't know, so it was hilarious, really.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Sophie teaches like elementary school students, so yeah.
I actually remembered something. They also like to ask me to repeat things they say in their own language. Do not fall for that, guys. Do not fall for that. So, I think it's always something inappropriate, but I have no way of proving that, so we just kind of change the topic.
It's interesting what things students and online students can do that wouldn't be, possible in traditional school, right?
Yes.
A lot of things. We'll talk about that too. Okay, Mike, you're teaching older students, high school students mostly. So do they have like inappropriate questions, or are they really more like curious in talking some serious topics?
I wouldn't consider them inappropriate, but very personal questions.
Oh, okay.
Like, are you married? Do you have children? Do you have a girlfriend? What you do in your free time? I don't know, what are your hobbies and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's all innocent and it's all fine. I mean, we do talk about our interests. I mean, it's not all classes and discussions and so on. But yeah, I mean, I always answer those questions as honestly as I can. I mean, I won't get into too much detail here. But weird questions, I don't know, actually. There was... I mean, not a weird question, it was more like a weird situation. I mean, not a weird situation, a funny one. We were, I think, was it a movie club meeting or something? And it's similar to what Julia said. They tried to pull a prank on me where we were discussing something in the movie and something I said could have been interpreted as very offensive, and they were suddenly like, "Oh my God, Mike, that's so offensive, how dare you, oh my God," and then they all went quiet. And I just sat there wondering what was that I said, thinking, oh my God, am I in trouble now? Yeah. And then they suddenly just said, "We're just joking, Mike, don't worry about it." And I'm like, oh my God,
so
please don't do that.
So they managed to get to you in some point,
Yeah, they can be very mean if they try.
They can.
But it's all fun in the end. I mean, it was a joke, and it was fun. I laughed, they laughed, we had a good time, and we just continued watching the movie, and yeah.
Great. And I know that both of you are gamers and you like to play games, so I believe that topic often comes when you're talking with students, especially Luke when he was previously a tutor. So Luke, can you tell us, did it happen previously that you simply drift off from the class and start talking about the games with the student and something that you have in common?
Well,
I don't know if I can tell this.
Yeah, definitely. After the class. Yeah. Just joking, of course, nice, it was in time of it. Yeah, and also I joined a game club that we're hosting a couple of times. So the students would group up against me and try to bring me down with a lot of success. So yeah, but we were talking, but Mary, those children, these students are playing new games. The newest game I'm playing is from like 2004, 2005. Some of them were not even born at that time, and I just stick to those. So yeah, as a gaming, that's a mutual interest. But when it comes to specifics like which games they play, which games I play, we just don't play same things.
You don't play same games. But can you remember from your previous life, what were some most uncomfortable or noisy questions that you got from your students? Did you have situations like that before?
Well, I didn't actually get a question, but I was in not so comfortable situation. It was like 2 years ago with my student from Saudi Arabia. I'm not gonna name anyone of here, course. But he was misbehaving often, and he wasn't very trustworthy. Like, he was late to classes. He would like that he's going to a toilet, and then he would return 15 minutes later with a sandwich or something like that. And he didn't show up for a class. I thought maybe he was just late or something. Then I received an email. 2 rams slammed in my door. And I was like, no way, this ain't going through. So I checked with his mom, and that actually happened. And then I apologized to him, because then I was not taking him too seriously, for being honest. Very uncomfortable, but what are the odds that 2 rams slam in your door and that you're late because of it? Took my chances, failed. Again, students 1, Luke 0. But yeah.
I hope all was forgiven after that. After
Yeah,
the
of
holidays,
course, we continued.
Great.
business
And
as
Mike,
usual.
do you remember any specific excuse that your student gave you for not showing up to the class? Because I do believe that they have some.
Oh,
They
yeah.
cannot say I was late for a bus or the bus stopped or something like that. Like the students who commute.
I do remember actually. Now I'm laughing out loud because it's such a funny situation. We were in the middle. It's not about not coming to class. It's actually having to leave early from class.
Oh, okay.
We were in the middle of class having doing an assignment in language arts, I think. A seventh grader, I think, was there. Yes, it was. And suddenly, he started talking about how his parents are coming home. And how he was worried that his sister is going to tell on him because he broke the window earlier. So he explained the situation in detail, how it wasn't his fault, of course, and he tried to explain how his sister blackmailed him, that if he doesn't do anything that she asks of him, then she'll tell mom. And she asked him that he has to leave from class.
Amazing.
He apologized and we ended the class 10 minutes early because he was going to get told on. So that's just a brilliant situation. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of what me and my brother used to be like when we were kids. And it's no different than being in a regular school. The same things happen even with your siblings. So it's
great. Well, did you let him leave the class early?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I understand.
You didn't have the choice.
Yeah, I understand the situation he was in because I was in the same situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My brother did the same thing to me.
So you do believe that that's true, what he told as an excuse?
Oh yeah, definitely. I could hear it in his voice. He was definitely
Scared.
terrified of his mom.
Of his sister.
Only his sister, yeah. So that was hilarious to me, but yeah, I played it cool. Of course, I didn't laugh. I was putting on a serious face. I hope he doesn't watch this episode.
Yeah, well, we never know.
But yeah, it's all good in the end. I think they covered up the mess they made. So I don't know how you cover up a broken window, but they managed in the end. So.
Okay, that's really great. I mean, my personal favorite, excuse that the student gave, I'm not a teacher, but from what I heard from my colleagues is when I forgot his name, but we can't mention student names, when he sent an email that he's going on a date and that's the reason why he can't attend the class, which is scheduled for tomorrow, which was, I was like, excuse me, I'm going on a date, I won't be able to join your class. But what can you do?
It's an exceptional excuse.
Yeah, Julie, your fair share of excuses.
Oh, I don't. I have two excuses that I will forever remember. One student was half an hour late to a class. It was the first morning class at 9:15 a.m. and he was late. I let him in the meeting and I asked him, "What's happening? You are not here." And he said, "Well, you know." And I said, "I honestly don't know. So can you explain?" And he just said, "Puberty." And that is where the conversation ended, and we just continued on with our lesson. Even today, I do not know what he meant, but I think maybe that should remain private. Also, another student, it was not about being late to the class, but his mom could not receive emails mysteriously.
Oh,
and
that happens
when
often.
I asked him often, "Did your mom receive the emails? Did your mom receive the emails?" And he would always say, "I don't know," or once he said her email doesn't work, or she's very busy, so she has a lot of work, so I'm sure that she read them, but I honestly don't know. And then of course it turned out that mysteriously they disappeared.
It's one of the problems, because children can log into their parents' accounts
but
and
delete
the emails. Or
the problem ends when you call the parents.
Yeah. So there's no escape. You cannot trick us. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Sophie, what about you?
Well, I'm thinking about the excuses now, but they're still very young. They're not that good at making up excuses. They normally say, I lost track of time. You know how the time flies. Then I had to take my dog for a walk. I had to eat. I had to go to the toilet. I had to, I don't know, I had to play with my friends. This is what one of my students always says. I had to. It's something that you have to do.
Yeah.
It's a must. So, but they will get better. I believe that they will develop the skill of making up excuses.
So, in your opinion, what is something that online students can do and get away with something that it wouldn't be possible in traditional schools? For example, you mentioned dogs and stuff like that. I know that they oftentimes bring their pets to class and show them. Is there anything else that, this new generation that is learning online gets to do during online classes that,
They can
the
be
rest of the world?
They can be their pajamas. You cannot go to a regular school, sitting there relaxed. Sometimes they even eat during lessons. For example, if we are watching a video, they ask me, can I eat, please? Can I have a snack? And I tell them, of course you can. If it's something that they don't, it's a relaxed moment, let's say, so they don't have to be fully concentrated on writing something or such things. I, of course, let them do that. But they cannot get away with many things. They can be, let's say, more relaxed. They can bring pets to our lessons. They can eat sometimes. But if anybody has any other idea or
if you can join the conversation.
situation,
What about you, Julie? You still work with the prime students?
Yes. Well, I think the pets, they love their pets, obviously, and they enjoy having them there from time to time. I do not allow them to play with their pets while in class, but I mean, we all enjoy to see them. They're very cute. So from time to time, it's allowed. Also, they can wake up much later than if they were going to, for example, regular school. Also, the way of us controlling what they do is a bit more difficult in this setting. But we make it work. I mean, there's ways to, you just have to be extra careful. And yeah, those things I think are the most, they have advantage in those things. And of course, pajamas. All the time they're in their pajamas.
So they love their pajamas.
Yes. You cannot lay down and listen to classes when you're in regular school, but we're working on all of those things, so it doesn't happen that often. I mean, we had an incident in class. It sounds like I don't know what happened, but one of our students' moms joined our class to tell everybody that online school is a privilege and that they should be very grateful. There was something happened, and we sent her an email about her son. And when she said it like that, that is the first time that I actually realized how, I'm not going to say privileged, like they have everything in front of them, but in a way it is really a privilege. And I think that it's our job to teach them responsibility and to take the school seriously. So there's a lot of challenges and a lot of for them I think it's a lot easier and more convenient to attend classes this way.
Great. So definitely when you go shopping for a school, it's now buy me a pajama, I need a sport class.
Yes. Recently we started talking about note-taking, and they always say, I do not have a piece of paper, I cannot take notes, or I'm in Greece, I don't have a pen, or something like that. Like, we do not understand that there's a pen. Yeah, there's a pen everywhere, you don't really have to.
Great. So they do have some weird excuses.
They try.
No, okay. It's a word of shot. Okay, Mike, what about you?
What was the question again? It was...
Yeah, I freestyled my answer, honestly. I had no idea.
I'm so sorry.
He lost the track of time. Okay, what was the question?
It was excuses. No, it wasn't excuses.
Yeah, I mean, the question was, what is something that online students can do that wouldn't be possible in traditional school, like bring their pets or something like that? Or if
pets is one thing. Oh God, another
that somebody
thing.
brought a pet that's unusual pet or something like that.
It's much easier to actually share your interests when you're online than when you're in person, Especially when it comes to music. That's what I noticed. You know, the kids can easily share their screen and just play their song. You know, it's easy.
Randomly, like during the class, or
Not
when
during
you
the class,
when you
but
talk
when
about
they
it. Oh,
yeah,
okay,
when we
okay.
talk about it then after class, when they stay around in the call, you know, it's much easier, you know, to just either share your screen, send the link in the chat, and have us open it, or to show what something is. You know, for example, a very unusual hobby. I don't know, like what's water gliding, and then somebody can show them a picture, you know, and not explain it in words. Like I don't know what water gliding is, but somebody can easily show me a picture online,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
Aside from that, I'm not sure. Watching movies together is much easier when it's online, really. When you're in person, you know, the other person next to you is always rustling about, maybe taking a potato chip from a bag and, crumpling a note or something, I don't know, and making noises and talking on the phone. But when you're with your friend on a call, and
It's easy, they can use it
they can just
themselves,
mute themselves and problem solved. And yeah, you can also, pause the video, talk to your friend, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom, can you pause the video? And then, yeah, sure, and then he just leaves.
Great.
Yeah.
So they're not missing actually
They're
during
not
the
missing
class.
out.
when-
No, if
yeah.
anything, they have an easier time socializing, at least when it comes to their, personal relationships, because they spend much more time inside and on the computer than they do spend outside of their house. I mean, we're in that kind of age where we spend usually more time
In
locked
front
to
of
our
the
screens. Yeah, everyone, myself included. And yeah, I mean, it's much easier to get to know someone like that, and it's even easier if you're talking to them and see their face. So that's a
Great.
perk.
Luke, do you remember something from your teaching experience that is related to this topic, or maybe from the teacher's point of view, what's something the teacher can get away with in an online class wouldn't be possible? You can't be in your pajamas, that's for sure.
No, of course not. But it is, I believe, easier for a teacher in a way, because when I can always, at any time of a class, call the students' parents if they're misbehaving and if they're at home. Usually somebody is at home. So making those threatening calls to students really calms them, and that the whole class benefits from it.
Great. Did you want to add something else?
No, I wanted to...
I wanted to add something. Sorry for interrupting. Now I remember something that my students like to do. They like to show their place where they live.
Oh, okay.
And they're like very happy and excited. Like, yeah, this is my place, this is my home, this is my garden, this is my backyard. And then the others feel like they got to know them a little bit more. A bit better. So it's a nice thing. You cannot do that when you're
you can definitely bring the entire classroom. I also remember that Millie got a really nice, I think it was also for some holidays, from a student from the Philippines. She was filming the entire celebration that is, related to the Philippine culture, and explaining Millie what is that and what is that, And it was a really nice video, So the tutors also get to know different cultures from students. Which
definitely.
When you are in a classroom, you can talk, and you can maybe prepare, I don't know, a few slides with photos and stuff like that. But the real deal, you can see it from, directly, like when it's happening. It's really great. Okay, I also wanted to ask Luke if I forgot what I wanted to ask. So the concentration is it's not it's winter break. So okay, I wanted to ask what was your icebreaker when you come to the class, and when you or whether they misbehave in the class, you cannot, calm them down, or what is something that when you see that they're shy and you can't get them to talk, did you have any icebreaker, topic or something that you would start talking about to just get them loose a little bit?
Yes, that really requires an individual approach to each and every student. And what I used to do with my students is on our first class to meet the parents as well, and then I could have a word or two with parents alone. like figure out what the student is like, what he or she likes, doesn't like, their points of interest, maybe sports, other all kinds of hobbies, and use those as icebreakers when the awkward silence comes or anything like that, or just to deload some pressure off of their shoulders. Like, guys, we're here in the same team. We all want for you to graduate as soon as possible with the highest grades possible. I'm here to make it easier for you. Yeah, you were the one to do the heavy lifting there, but you've got me in your team, your parents, everybody's with you. And as soon as you make them feel comfortable, they'll talk, they'll expose themselves, if I can say like that. They become more friendly.
And I know that friendly approach was also useful because I remember even when the students leave our school and go for further education, they know to send an email to their teachers and ask how
that
things
means
going.
The world. That's right. I received dozens of those. I'd like to take this opportunity to say hello to all of them. I miss you guys. Hope you're doing great. And yeah, you're right.
I remember one interesting story that a student called you and asked you who has her slots, who is having classes in the time when she used to have classes with you. So it was really nice, you know, especially when we were also like a young school and didn't have so many students, you know. So it's really nice thing to have.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, what about you? I mean, again, you're working with older students and they're maybe harder to entertain, or, you know.
Well, yeah, they are.
Don't ask me about it.
Yeah, teenagers, 16, 17, 18, it's those sensitive years. We gotta be friends with them, honestly. That's my approach. I know each and every one of them on a personal level. They know me on a personal level, which I think is my hallmark as being a tutor. As Luke said, they do the heavy lifting. We are the spotter, basically. I like the metaphor. But yeah, what do I do? Honestly, when it's the first time I'm meeting someone, I immediately blurt out the first thing that comes to my mind. It's usually, you know, me saying my favorite color, which they think is very funny because the way I say it.
What's your favorite color?
It's black.
Oh,
yes.
Really very.
Very black.
I don't know, why did I expect a different answer?
White.
It's
completely missed the,
I was expecting a surprise, sorry.
I completely missed the part of the year. What's my favorite color? Then I say that I have a pet dog, and that my parents have a pet dog. And I then compare the two dogs. Mine is the most lovable creature on the planet, and my parents' dog is the most hateful creature on the planet. I think they find that very funny.
Okay. So then you have your ways.
And then I make you know, some kind of joke and welcome to the, I don't know, 17th iteration of the movie club. I'll be your host, Mike, the best teacher on this planet, and they find that very funny. Of course, I play it off as a joke later. Of course, I am not on the planet the best teacher.
Just this part of the world, so yeah.
Yeah, just maybe on the movie clubs, maybe I am. Who knows? But yeah, they immediately find it funny. They comment on that, and then we kind of hit it off from there. I mean, that's how I do it. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it, but I know it works because they keep coming back to my classes, and yeah, we get on from there quite nicely. The other students help me as well, really, because they already know me. They support me in my jokes.
Oh, okay.
And then the new students actually feel more at home, like, oh my god, this guy is actually cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's this guy? I want to be here and you know, keep on coming to the class. And
that's one of the way of keeping students in your class. So.
Oh yeah, I try. Oh god, I'm not gonna say manipulate, but it's a way to get them to want to come to class. Actually, if they're coming to class out of you know, pure responsibility or because it's an obligation they were told by their parents, then we're not doing anything productive. But if they want to come to class, if they have the wish, oh, I can't wait for Mike's class today, then it's everything is easy then in the end. So yeah.
Yeah, great. And Julia, I know that you even said it yourself that you had some hard time as a substitute teacher. So do you have any icebreak stories to share? Like how did you manage the situation?
The thing is, when you are meeting new students and when you are introducing yourself to a class or one student individually, I think it's very important to be authentic. I think that kids are they can easily see when you are faking being strict or faking being this or that. I always am myself, and I always, from the beginning, show that I'm a human just like you. You can tell me whatever you want. Of course, as Mike said, jokes help a lot for them to warm up to you, and sometimes even showing authority makes them more comfortable to be around you, because kids maybe act like they don't like boundaries, but they really do need them in their... So it's as Luke said, every kid is different, and it's your job to figure out what would they respond well to, because even when you have a group class, each of those students have different preferences, and I guess I'm just trying my best to know all of them individually and then respond to what they're saying in a different way. I guess it takes a lot out of you at the end of the day, but I think they're grateful because of it. I mean, they say they are grateful, and I really do believe that. So just joking around. I like my classes to be casual yet informative and useful. I do not think that having a strict environment is always the best thing to do for them. Also, times are changing, kids are changing. I mean, we work in an online school, you know, let's start from there. We need to adjust to different things. Yeah. And to see what's more important, to have strict class where everything is perfect, or to motivate them to actually do the work and find interest in what you are teaching. So it takes a lot, a lot of thinking to get the students to enjoy your classes.
Well, we were always talking that education worldwide usually has this individual approach, and we really try to get to know students as much as we can, so that we can adapt to their learning style instead of vice versa, which is the situation in brick and mortar schools on all other forms of education, basically. Yeah. So online is really flexible and allows you to adjust in different areas. So.
And the thing is, where this becomes challenging is when students recognize that you are treating them a bit differently. And that brings new set of challenges to explain why somebody can do it this way and you shouldn't, and so on. I just kind of get all kind of tangled up in explaining things and trying to show them that this is the right way, because I know how I was when I was in middle school. I mean, you had to explain everything. If you don't tell me why I'm doing something, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm really trying to think from a perspective of 12-year-old, who I was when I was 12. I mean, come on, I really cannot expect my students to understand everything first time I explain something, to accept me from the first time they see me. I feel like when you are in an online school, sometimes it gets easy to forget, oh, these are real kids. We are all real people. You need to be conscious of your empathy, and just to remind yourself that your work is very important, and that what you are doing is very, very important for their future education, future lives, and so on. We all know how difficult it was to study a certain subject when that teacher was in a bad mood all the time, or just was not motivated to do their job. And a lot of kids actually kind of strand away from certain careers because they were not paying enough attention in classes, for example, just because their teacher was there because he had to be there.
I have a question, because you now inspired me. I had this question and I was meaning to ask it in one of different podcast episodes. But now when you started talking about it, we're having students from all around the world, and we never know when we are educating a future leader, world leader. So do you guys ever think about it like, okay, I'm working in an international school and I'm a teacher of a student who maybe tomorrow will be the president of some country, or, you know, will be in a situation, so who will start, okay, let's start from Sophie and I'll move back to the boys later.
Well, I think all of them are leaders in a way, not necessarily as presidents or in a political way or some like official way, but they are leaders, and they should be example, let's say, to younger generations. And I look at them like that, honestly.
Okay, great.
I've never thought about one of them being a future president or something like that, to be honest. But now when you put it like that, I will think about it. But the truth is that I really do believe in them, and I really think that they are leaders in a sense of being an example for younger generations.
So great. So they're bright minds, and, you know, future is safe.
Definitely.
Okay,
I believe
Mike, what's your opinion on this topic? Do you ever find yourself thinking about this, like you're teaching or educating?
Yeah, and I might not have, I mean, I do have one world leader in mind that's going to become a world leader in a student from my classes. But I do have other professions. I mean, I can definitely see one of them becoming a software engineer. I can definitely see one of them becoming a doctor. I can definitely see one of them becoming a novelist, a writer, an author in any case. I can see one of them becoming what was I thinking about? A superstar in basketball, actually. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing to see how diversified their interests are and their specialities are. And to think that we can also support that with our elective subjects is all the more reason to support them as best as we can, actually. I have a student who whenever she comes to class, she always talks about what new book she started to read, how she likes the plot, how she likes the themes in the novel, and I'm pretty sure that she's going to become an acclaimed critic of
great.
so I'm positive about that. And then I have a student who shows me his creations on the web. He designs websites. He makes little mini games and so on. So he already knows programming languages. I mean, come on, like I don't know, and I'm 25. I mean, come on, he's only 13. He already knows programming languages. I mean, it's a bright future ahead of him. Then other students as well. I mean, a student showed me her plays in basketball, like. Those moves I haven't seen even the most famous basketball players perform. Like, she's going to definitely be a star at her own field. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see all of that. Yeah.
Awesome. Luke, your side of the story on this topic.
Well, Mary, it's been a long time since I have had classes, but I do see one of my students getting into F1. Possibly in 2 to 3 years.
Oh, great.
Yep. Then I've had first place for the girls in the whole of Russia for Rubik Cube solvers.
I remember that.
Yep. I've got new student this year. Probably, now I'm like 98% sure that she's been doing the best work I've ever seen on the platform.
Does her name start with N?
Yep, that's right. You know who she is.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, she's terrific.
She's assigned to me.
I have to slow her down, slow her pace down. So high grades, all A's, A pluses, always there in time. And she seeks to be a doctor. So with those characteristics, virtues,
she's on a good way.
Yep,
Great.
Paving that road good.
Yeah, great. And do you remember, since you also do gaming clubs, I don't know if they're active still, or did you pause them for some time? Never mind. Did it ever happen that during the class or a club you start, guys, a debate, or students start a debate that totally out of the topic or something like that. How do you let them be and just,
Yes. I
because-
ask all the weird questions and try to pull the answers out of them. Like for example, social studies was my field, doing in world geography, for example, and then we were working the mountain peaks on Earth, like the global peaks. And we come up to Mount Everest, and I asked them, do you know that there are fish remains on top of the mountain? And they were like, no, they're not. It's the mountain. They live in the sea. And yes, there are. So I prove it to them without showing them how the fish did get there, and then listen to their responses. Some of them was like, eagle was hunting and dropped it on top of the mountain. I was like, yeah.
So you made them
or
think
someone
about
dropped
how
it.
something happened. That's nice.
Yeah, but yeah, we wander off different topics. I think it's important for students during the class especially to get loosen up a little bit, just to deload that pressure off their shoulders. Just to get them talking in one field will definitely get them talking in a different field. FBI interrogation tactics. Just joking. But yes, it can apply.
But let's be honest, you have a series of that on your YouTube channel, watching before the class, preparing,
right.
or how to approach them.
Yep.
Okay, so Julie, you're doing debate club, so I'm pretty sure you have some interesting debate topics that have started in your club sessions. And
They are constantly trying to push for riskier and riskier and riskier topics. And it's always a challenge for me to understand, are we supposed to debate about this? I try to bring it down a notch and talk because it was the last meeting of the year, and somebody recommended, let's have a discussion about Christmas, something Christmas related. And I suggested, okay, let's talk about, is it beneficial for kids to believe in Santa Claus? Let's discuss. I mean, we're not having an official debate, we're just discussing. They almost started to fight about I'm like, guys, we're talking about Santa Claus. It's not that serious. We can, we can relax a bit. They're trying to, for them, the riskier, the better. So I always ask them, what would your parents think if they hear that this is our debate topic? And some of them say, oh, my parents helped me get ready for this. Like, they heard my arguments already, and so on. I think that especially for debate club, it's very important for them to understand that we are not here to argue for what we believe in. That's not why we are here. We are here to learn about the other side as well, and that is why they cannot choose their own teams. You are assigned a team randomly. So if you are, I'm just going to use the most Pepsi versus Coca-Cola, for example. If you are a Pepsi fan, you're not guaranteed to be on that team. I mean, we do not have topics like this, but just for example. And then they are forced, I mean, they choose to do this, but they are forced to investigate, why do other people think this way? Is there any proof of this, and so on. I think that that is the most beneficial things that teenagers, one of the most beneficial things teenagers can do is explore other options, to not be either this way or that way. There's always a middle. People today especially seem to forget there is this gray zone of people who have no idea or maybe think both are correct and so on. I think today we are going to extreme sides, either fully agree, fully disagree, and so on. And them as teenagers using what they know, because they are very smart kids, to use the resources they have online that are real resources, checked resources, not just some random website. And learning about trending topics is, I think, very beneficial than actually presenting that in front of other people and so on. But they're constantly having debates, or if we don't have a debate, because debate actually takes a lot of time to organize, we have casual discussions where they can talk about their own opinions, not facts, but opinions. And it always is fun to see how they think differently. Again, what adds to that is that everybody's from different part of the world. And I think that for debate club, that is so beneficial. You have so many different points of view, so many different cultures in one classroom debating over something that seems universal, but actually, you know, people from different parts of the world just see things a bit differently. And I think it's a very good learning experience for them.
Great.
So
I just bragged about
I just bragged about my club for like 5 minutes, but
but you sounded good. I mean, so I want to join at least to listen and to experience everything. Okay, Sophie, this is the last round of questions. If you can, since we are talking about how online school is flexible and allows you some things that traditional schools can't. Can you tell me what is some unconventional way that you would try to do classes? For example, I don't know, singing or rapping or acting or I don't know, role playing. Did you ever imagine, like, if you have the opportunity, like you would like to try it with your students?
Yes, well, I used to use, I used some songs to teach them figurative language. So to learn what a metaphor is, what is a simile, and many others. And they did like it very much. Then we wrote scripts as well, and we acted it out, and it was very fun. So I think, well, I will have to think about some other ways that I used and techniques, but these two were pretty successful. And also that we talked about this before, but the techniques that we use, I always tend to know what each one of them likes. And for example, if they find a topic that we talk about uninteresting, not very entertaining, and so on and so on. For example, we talked about literature, genres and elements of novels, and they thought it was boring. And then I knew that most of them like Harry Potter, for example. Most of them read Harry Potter. So I asked them, what is a setting? What is a plot there? What the characters are? And so
you use something that they like, yeah.
Yes, so I try to connect these two things, the lesson and what they really do like and enjoy. So
great. That sounds really cool and interesting. An interesting class to be present. I'm always saying that, like, I would attend our classes all the time. Even though elementary and high school were a long time ago, at least for me. So, Mike, what about you? Like, what is some unconventional way that you would like to do your class? That you would like to try?
I would like to try. I'm not sure that I would. I think I tried everything there is in the book.
No, but it doesn't have to be in a book, Doesn't really have to be like
yeah, I mean, there was this situation. I mean, I tried to write it, but I think I'll try to employ it more often. Actually, I had a student who had some trouble with science assignments, and it was about Earth, its rotations, revolutions, its way around the sun, and its place in the solar system. And I'm pretty sure, not pretty sure, I'm positive that he had a mind-blowing experience because he is from Canada and we're here in Europe. And we're in completely different time zones. So we had the class somewhere around 1 p.m. Europe time. And for him, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. He's very diligent. He likes to get up for those classes. And in explaining the position of the sun relative to Earth, I literally showed him that it's daytime outside. And I took him outside and showed him the sun. While for him, the sun wasn't even rising. Yeah. It was still beyond the horizons. So that was a mind-blowing experience. I then drew the pictures on the whiteboard and drew two little stick men representing him and me. The whole situation was terribly amusing. One other thing I completely forgot right now because I was trying to figure it out. Let me think again. What was it?
Never mind. Maybe looking at something. Why do I believe it would have something to do with history or games?
Well, what I did was not so unconventional. For example, history, as you said. I would play them a speech or a fragment of a speech of a guy or a lady that we're going to learn about. So when we did Alexander the Great, for example, I played one of his speeches, the most famous one, where he represented himself as a part of an army. He had a wound and a scar of every kind of weapon. He's there with them, and then they wanted to go back home to celebrate, to have their bronze statues made, to bath in wealth. And he said, yes, go, and I'll go, and don't think twice. Just remember who you left me here with the nations that we conquered. And all of them picked up their swords and went with him till the very end. So they get all encouraged, like, yeah, this is a great leader. We want to learn more. And yeah, so usually like that.
Okay.
I remember actually.
Oh, you remember?
Yeah, it's just brilliant story actually. Oh god, I forgot again. Wait, wait. Oh no, it's here. We were there's this topic in language arts which I usually teach all the time to my students. It's the most dull thing that can be taught. It's Luke is having a blast. All right. It's the most dull topic that can be taught. I'm positive. It's the structures of essays and how to write an argumentative essay, how to write a persuasive essay, and so on. I like to show them how to write an essay through an example, actually. So when they want to research something for science, for example, they have to actually go to Google. They have to actually find the papers, the articles, and through that I can show them how it actually looks like and why it is important in practice. So we would find the article, we would look at the introduction, the body, the conclusion, and show them through an example why it's so important to have an essay as perfect in form as that one. And then they would be like, oh, it's actually
Interesting.
logical, it's interesting, it's reasonable to ask of us to write an essay in a strict form such as that, you know, with, I don't know, a thesis statement with supporting details, topic sentences, conclusions, personal opinions, and so on. So I try to connect the school material to real life as much as I can. Why would writing an essay be important? Well, it would be important for this and that. Why would, I don't know, reading and analyzing a novel be important? Why would analyzing a poem be important? So that one day you can maybe write a love letter to your, I don't know, girlfriend, I don't know. So there we go. I mean, it is all in the end connected to real life. And I try to connect it to them as much as I can.
That's really great. That's also really great. Julia, what about you? I wanted to speak with you earlier, but Mike jumped in with the questions. Why are they laughing? Please, if you can concentrate to answer the question. What is the unconventional way that you would like to try out for your classes? Or?
Well, I would like to do what Sophie said, acting certain things out. We haven't done that yet. And I think that it's a very fun way of learning. I'm surprised I haven't thought of that previously. But I will in the future. Currently, I guess we are mostly doing what Mike said, trying to connect what we're learning with real life. I think that that is the biggest motivator for students nowadays. There was a whole era of school is not cool, we don't learn anything in school that's useful in real life, and that is still consistent with middle school at least. So all the time they're asking, when am I going to use this again? Why is this important? And I tell them, well, you exercise your body so that it stays in shape. You have to exercise your brain so that it stays in shape. I mean, this is one of the ways for you to do that. I cannot tell you that you're going to use algebra in your day-to-day life, but I mean, guess what? It's helpful for you to actually keep your brain active and do certain things that are going to help them. But I think we are experiencing working with students that are motivated by very different things than what we are used to. I did not think about earning money when I was 10 or 12, and the reason why they are thinking that is because they are surrounded. I mean, we are also surrounded by social media. I'm not saying it's their fault, but they're just trying to study so they can become rich. And that is something that I see in a lot of students, and that is their biggest motivator that I can see currently for a lot of them. And I guess it takes a lot for us as tutors to adjust to that. Okay, so we have to convince them why this is so important, and we have to actually show them how this will be helpful in their careers, that when they become millionaires. I mean, if you want to be a millionaire, you need to know how to calculate.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So guys, we're coming to the end of this show. I'll start with Sophie this time. Do you have something to, I don't know, say to our students or anybody who is watching us, like, you know, wish them a Happy New Year or something? Do you like to do that? I mean, I'm not forcing you.
Of course, I want to wish them a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, to enjoy as much as they can with their family and friends, to rest enough so they can come and be full of energy, to recharge their batteries for the new semester, and, well, to enjoy as much as they can.
Okay. Julie, what about you?
To those students that are on time with everything, please don't study over the winter break. Please have fun. And I mean, if studying is fun, sure, but don't get overwhelmed with schoolwork during the winter break. For those of you that are late with things, please do your homework. I'm expecting it to be done. Happy New Year. Enjoy your winter break. I know I'm going to enjoy it. I know that everybody needs it. And I cannot wait to see what great things we're going to achieve in the new year.
Okay. Mike?
Well, I'll just like to wish them the happiest of New Year's, to have a good time, to just forget about school for at least a few days, not for the entirety of the winter holiday. I mean, sure, if you're ahead of schedule, sure, go ahead, take a couple of weeks off. But yeah, for those of you who do have an agreement with me, try to stick to the agreement.
Otherwise, there will be consequences.
There will not be consequences. I'll just be very sad.
The greatest consequence.
The greatest.
You'll make me sad.
Don't make Mr. Mike sad, guys. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Luke?
Happy New Year to everyone. I wish you year full of meaningful connections, a lot of success, wealth, health, and everything else.
Great.
I'm not very good at.
I'm surprised you didn't practice, so
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't mention this. That's okay. Okay, thank you for watching this episode, and please subscribe. They're always reminding me to say that, to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because in 2024 we will continue with this podcast and with a lot of different topics regarding online schooling, where we give you a fragment of how things look like from our perspective, and what are the benefits for your children who are studying online. Likewise, I want to wish you a happy 2024, and may it bring you all the best. Okay, thank you once again, and goodbye.
I wish they